The story of the Ring of Gyges challenges us to reflect deeply on the nature of power, morality, and personal choice. Imagine having total freedom, the ability to do anything without witnesses or consequences. What would you do? This ancient Greek tale, recounted by Plato in the Republic, explores exactly that scenario, making it one of history's most powerful and enduring philosophical narratives. Before the Lord of the Rings popularized the concept of corrupting power, the legend of the Ring of Gyges had already posed the same question for centuries. It begins with a humble shepherd in ancient Greece. One day, while tending his flock, an earthquake opened a fissure in the mountainside. Curiosity led the shepherd to squeeze through the crack, only to find himself inside a mysterious tomb. At its center stood a massive bronze horse, containing the skeletal remains of a giant warrior with a gleaming ring on its finger. Taking the ring and slipping it on, the shepherd discovered its astonishing power. It made him invisible. What followed was a descent into darkness as the shepherd, corrupted by the ring's power, used his newfound invisibility to commit heinous acts, ultimately assassinating the king, seducing the queen, and seizing the throne. Plato's retelling through Glaucon serves as a thought experiment, arguing that people only act morally when bound by societal consequences. Without accountability, even the just might become unjust. This tale forces us to question the nature of virtue. Is justice merely a social contract, or a virtue rooted in the soul, as Socrates contends? Stoic philosophy provides a compelling answer. A true Stoic would see the ring not as a path to indulgence, but as a test of character. Real power lies not in controlling others but in mastering oneself. The ring, therefore, becomes an ultimate challenge. Would you do the right thing even when no one is watching? In today's world, the story remains relevant. Power without accountability exists in countless forms, from the anonymity of the internet to private moments where we can act selfishly without consequence. Stoicism teaches us to rehearse our responses to these Ring of Gyges moments, preparing ourselves to choose virtue over convenience. Exercises like daily reflections, power audits, and invisibility tests help us develop the mental strength to act rightly, regardless of external consequences. The tale of Gyges shows that while power can corrupt, it doesn't have to. The real victory is not in becoming invisible to others but in becoming visible to oneself as a person of integrity. Here's a long paragraph version. The ancient tale of the Ring of Gyges presents a timeless story about power and morality that has sparked philosophical debates for centuries. Before modern narratives like The Lord of the Rings, this Greek legend explored the corrupting nature of unchecked authority. Told by Plato in the Republic, it follows a humble shepherd who stumbles upon a mysterious tomb after an earthquake. Inside, he discovers a giant bronze horse containing a skeletal warrior wearing a magical ring. When the shepherd places the ring on his finger, he becomes invisible. Empowered by this newfound ability, he soon succumbs to temptation, committing heinous acts, including murder and deceit, to seize the throne. Plato uses this story to question whether people act justly out of genuine virtue or merely out of fear of punishment. The Stoic perspective, however, offers a counterpoint, emphasizing the importance of self-mastery and virtue over external power. They argue that true strength lies in choosing to act rightly even when no one is watching. Invisibility, like other forms of power, tests a person's character by removing accountability. The Ring of Gyges thus becomes a metaphor for the moral challenges we face today, from anonymous internet interactions to positions of influence in society. The Stoic response to such power is rooted in wisdom, self-control, justice, and courage, urging us to practice integrity regardless of external consequences. The tale encourages reflection on how we use power and highlights that true freedom comes not from avoiding consequences but from living authentically and virtuously. The story's enduring relevance reminds us that our moral compass must be strengthened not only by societal rules but also through conscious inner discipline, ensuring that we consistently make ethical choices when faced with the allure of power without accountability. The story of the Ring of Gyges, first introduced by the philosopher Plato in the Republic, raises profound questions about the nature of morality, power, and human behavior when accountability is stripped away. This ancient tale is often viewed as an exploration of whether people are inherently just or if they merely behave morally to avoid punishment and social condemnation. The narrative centers around a humble shepherd named Gyges, who serves the king of Lydia. One day, after a violent storm and an earthquake, Gyges comes across a hidden chasm in the earth while tending his flock. Driven by curiosity, he ventures inside and discovers an ancient tomb containing a colossal bronze horse. Within the horse lies the corpse of a giant warrior, adorned with a gold ring. Gyges, intrigued by the strange ring, takes it and places it on his finger. He soon realizes that the ring grants him an extraordinary power. By twisting it a certain way, he becomes completely invisible to those around him. With this newfound ability, Gyges is no longer bound by the consequences of his actions. He can act without fear of being seen or held accountable. At first bewildered by the ring's magic, Gyges quickly succumbs to temptation. He uses the power of invisibility to infiltrate the royal palace, seduce the queen, and ultimately murder the king, seizing the throne for himself. Plato presents this story as a thought experiment in a conversation between Socrates and Glaucon. Glaucon, Socrates' interlocutor, uses the tale to argue that no person is just by nature. According to Glaucon, if anyone, no matter how virtuous they appeared, were given the power of invisibility and guaranteed impunity, they would eventually abandon their moral principles and indulge in selfish, unethical behavior. Justice, he contends, is merely a social construct, a compromise people make to avoid being wronged by others. Without the threat of punishment or the need to maintain a good reputation, even the most righteous individual would behave unjustly. This pessimistic view of human nature is contrasted with the Stoic philosophy, which emphasizes the importance of internal virtue and self-mastery. The Stoics believed that true freedom and happiness come not from external power or material wealth but from living in accordance with reason and moral principles. They would argue that the power of the Ring of Gyges is a test of character, rather than being an excuse to abandon ethics. Such power offers an opportunity to demonstrate unwavering virtue. For the Stoics, the person who remains just and virtuous even when no one is watching is truly wise and free. The tale of Gyges continues to resonate in contemporary discussions about ethics, technology, and anonymity. In the digital age, the internet often functions as a metaphorical ring of Gyges, granting individuals a form of invisibility through anonymous online interactions. The question posed by Plato remains relevant. Without accountability, will people choose to act ethically, or will they succumb to deceit, harassment, and other harmful behaviors? The story reminds us that moral integrity must come from within, not merely from external surveillance or societal pressure. Furthermore, the tale invites reflection on the nature of power itself. Gyges' transformation from a simple shepherd to a ruthless tyrant illustrates how unchecked power can corrupt even those who initially seem harmless. The temptation to exploit others for personal gain becomes almost irresistible when there are no consequences. This theme echoes throughout history, as countless leaders and figures of authority have abused their positions when they believed themselves above the law. However, the Stoic response offers a hopeful counterpoint. By cultivating the virtues of wisdom, courage, justice, and self-discipline, individuals can resist the corrupting influence of power. The Stoics would advise that the key to navigating moral challenges lies in developing a strong internal compass, guided by reason and a commitment to doing what is right regardless of external circumstances. In this sense, the story of Gyges is not just a cautionary tale about the dangers of invisibility and power but also a call to cultivate inner virtue and integrity. Ultimately, the Ring of Gyges serves as a timeless metaphor for the ethical dilemmas we face in both ancient and modern contexts. It challenges us to consider who we are when no one is watching and to strive for a life guided by authentic virtue rather than fear of punishment or desire for praise. The story underscores the importance of self-awareness and ethical reflection, reminding us that true moral strength lies in choosing justice and integrity even when we could easily do otherwise.